All right, so the reality of binge eating and trying to do things differently for me looked like this. I wanted to lose weight. I was 170 pounds overweight, but I also realized that my binge eating was where the majority of that weight came from. I would do very restrictive diets, the pendulum would swing. I would then decide I couldn't do it anymore. It would swing hard the other direction and I would binge. And I could lose 30 to 50 pounds on an extreme diet, especially in my 20s. And then I would gain all that weight back, plus some just from my binge eating. And it really didn't take that long. My binge eating was so excessive that the weight would come back on. Because what would happen, and maybe this seems familiar to you, I would do so good for so long. And then when I had a binge, I felt so destroyed by it that I didn't just allow it to be a one meal binge. It became, today I'll eat whatever I want and I'll get back to it tomorrow. And then another day of binging and overeating. And then I repeat. So really for me, what I started to say to myself was, honestly, if I could just not keep that pattern going, right? If I could just have the one binge, let it go and move on, I would avoid these multiple day, multiple week strands of binge eating, which then caused all that weight to come back. So that was kind of my first goal, not to allow the binging to exceed the one meal. And it was really coming down to not giving myself permission or throwing my hands up in frustration and saying, well, whatever, I've already screwed up. I might as well just keep on that trail. I would say, you know what, we had one off meal. Let's focus on the next one being back on track. So that was number one. Number two, I had to get real about what I was doing. So when I was on plan, I tracked my food. When I had a binge, I said, oh my gosh, this is too astronomical. This is too much food. I can't possibly track all that. And so in my mind, I would make the amount of calories or points or whatever so high that, again, I gave myself that license to continue the negative behavior because I was already so screwed up. I had already made so much mistakes, right? So what I said to myself is, no, we're going to see what this really looks like. We're going to get honest with ourselves. So there was days I would track and it was pretty high, but then there were days where I thought I had a binge and the numbers were not as extreme as I would have imagined them to be. So what I realized by doing that behavior, by honestly tracking what I ate, even if I had a binge, was that just the act of forcing myself to look at it caused me to curb some of my behaviors, and it gave me a more honest depiction of what was really happening. So I didn't use that as the gate to continue the behavior. So the honestly tracking piece. I then also would stop weighing myself. So under normal situation, I binge, feel overwhelmed by it, feel like a failure. I throw my hands up in frustration. I keep the behavior going, and then I just avoid the scale, right? That was my other MO. Well, no wonder I was gaining all the weight back. I was like totally out of check with reality of what was happening. So my other thing was I continue to weigh in as if nothing happened. I see the reality, and what I started to really notice was, yes, my weight would shoot up the next day from the binge, but if I got back to my normal eating right away, my weight started to come back down. So it wasn't like I went from where I had lost 10, 20, or 30 pounds to gaining all that weight back. It kind of halted everything. But it was also me being self-aware, self-honest, so I would weigh in regularly. And those were the things that kind of got me started. The one that really was the most, I would say, helpful, that I realized I needed to add in was, besides those, was I planned a treat every night. So one of the triggers for the binging for me was I would quote unquote eat good all day and I wasn't going to have a treat because I didn't think I could have a treat and still lose weight. It had to be harsh or it wasn't going to get the results, right? So when I finally started planning in a nightly treat, every single night, like clockwork, even if I binged, no matter what started to happen was I felt a sense of comfort. I felt like, okay, I'm gonna have a treat. There's no one taking it away from me. I am going to have that to look forward to every day. So adding that in actually alleviated a lot of the tension that created the desire to binge. So this is where I started. And what I'm going to be doing in the next several videos is talking about how I expanded upon this and some of the other things I learned in my journey when it came to binge eating. And I just want to really get this out there. There is hope. I truly believed I was never going to stop binge eating. I believed it was going to be with me forever. I believed I would never get to my weight loss goal because of it. And I did. And I've gotten to where I don't binge now. And I'm so grateful for that. And I just want everybody out there to have that same gift of not binging, of feeling in control of themselves. So I hope that this video series helps. If you need more help with this, please join us in the Half Size Me community. We have a lot of people working on this for themselves. I have a whole course dedicated to this called Break Free. It's 5 techniques that will help with binge eating. And again, if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get this content out to as many people as possible to help as many people as possible. And I can do that by you helping to spread the good word. If there's anything you have questions on or need help with, always leave it in the comments below. I check those for ideas for other videos, and I will be back with another binge eating video in this series. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.